Hi everyone, Brad here. In today's video, we are going to be overviewing the entire marketing mix, which is all about where our estimates come from. That's between all these channels, that is where the estimates are getting generated from. So this video is for sales representatives, general managers, licensees, franchisees, anyone who's on the management side of the business has to understand how we generate leads into the business. So in the last video, we really covered just a general overview of the whole painting business as a whole and the seasonality and like how you grow a painting business. And in this video, we're really going to get into those tactics. So yeah, let's get to it. So here is what we're going to cover. We are going to cover the entire marketing mix. I'm going to go one by one through all the different channels that we have available to us. And then we're going to talk about selecting a marketing strategy that's appropriate for the business. And this is something you want to be doing in the business planning time of the year, is selecting the marketing strategy and creating the budget for that. Good time to do that is the end of the year around December, where you're kind of finalizing all that stuff before you're going to take action in the new year. So we're going to cover field marketing, job site marketing, door hangers, lawn signs, parketing, direct mail, email, digital stuff, networking, lead services, strategic alliances, website and SEO, referrals, direct outreach, trade shows. So if we reorganize all that, we get the active section and the passive section. So if you reorganize the whole thing, you get these two columns. And the active stuff is obviously things that we can get quick results. We can go out and get leads directly into the pipeline that we can estimate and sell. And the passive stuff is more things that we need to be investing in, but they don't necessarily, we can't predict exactly when those returns are going to come back to us. Although they are very important for long-term growth, you want to be relying on passive strategies as you mature as a company. So these tactics are all tried and true. I have used all of them throughout my career doing this. And we're really just trying to come up with the best fit that will optimize the marketing dollars, especially in the early years. So the first one I'll speak to is door to door. This is hands down the most direct and cheapest path to getting new clients quickly. Anyone who's looking to expand their presence in a market should be using this tactic to generate estimates and get proposals out into the neighborhood. So I have done over $1 million of sales just in door to door, and it's really quite simple and easing. And now I've had such a weird relationship with door to door where I didn't want to do it for a long time, and it was just like wasn't stoked on it. I wanted to get more into passive, and I wanted to get more into online. It's like it's sexier to be online and doing Google Adwords and all these other things, has been my experience. But it's funny now, I really, really like door to door again. So it's been this love-hate relationship with it. And I think that's based on how good of a tactic is it. It's a good relationship building tactic. It is a good direct response tactic, so you can get leads immediately. And it's also the cheapest one I've ever encountered for the home service industry. Not just for painting, but when I used to run my house cleaning company, also it was super amazing for that. Best ROI ever. So for each hour you put into field marketing, you should expect to knock on 30 doors, talk to 10 people, and come away with one estimate. You should expect to sell 33% of the estimates that you schedule doing door to door. So this means that for every 3 hours of cold calling, you and your team in the long run should average 3 estimates and book one job at an average job size of $4,000. So if you run the numbers on the costing, if you're paying $50 per estimate to your marketers, so they'd be doing very well. If they're booking one estimate per hour, they're making $50 an hour, which is insane. And this is high school students and stuff like that, who are usually the ones that learn the most from this job. And they're the most ambitious and into it. They're making insanely good money. and they're learning an extremely valuable skill, which is cold calling, straight up. But if you were to do that, which you should be able to do this quite naturally, your marketing expense comes to 3.75%. That's very low. That is very good. You could do $1 million business. Like if we just divide that out, so say $1 million divided by average job size of 4,000. So that would be, we need 250 jobs. So if we're assuming a reasonable sales rep is usually booking at about 50%. Really low end would be 33%, but let's go with 50%. So we would need 500 estimates. And if we're doing 500 estimates over the course of, let's say, 30 weeks, that would be only 16 hours of cold calling a week. Or if we even if we just made it every hour and a half, we get a lead or an estimate. So we need 25 hours of cold calling a week. So if we've got a team of 2 people even, that's only 12 hours a week of cold calling consistently. That's nothing. That's less than a part-time job. You could do $1 million if you're just consistent. That's crazy to me. Like, I haven't even done only that before, but now that I'm even running the numbers now, it's just like, if you were just consistently cold calling for 30 weeks with a team of 2 who worked part-time and they were reasonably good, getting a lead every hour and a half, you'd be able to get 500 estimates scheduled and book for 250 jobs. So, and if you run the numbers on the budget side of things, $500, 500 estimates times $50 an estimate, that's $25,000 in cold calling, in door-to-door marketing. If you divide that by $1 million business, your marketing expense would only be 2.5%. It's even lower than 3.75%. So that's the power of just picking a tactic, something you're going to commit to. We're going into our next season. We're actually going to run a full-on door-to-door marketing team consistently and really deck out our guys, get really nice rain gear and really good jackets, and build a really good culture around it. Because it's just such a good tactic, and that's why I've included it first in the marketing mix here. So, a growing painting company will rely heavily on the field marketing for a significant portion of their lead generation in the early years. For many potential customers, this will be the first contact with Colorcraft. It's important that the brand is represented professionally and consistently through this marketing strategy. There's a whole video dedicated just to this, so we're not going to go into more detail here on just all the scripting, what to wear, how to show up, how to schedule, all this stuff. So we'll cover that in another video. Job site marketing. So we've already spoken to job site marketing a little bit. Job site marketing refers to targeting houses surrounding a home that you've already enrolled into the company. So things that you're already painting. So we talked about this already, but the ways that we can do job site marketing. So that's like putting up flyers like you see there. There's a door hanger that's been put up on a job site, on a neighboring house to a job site that's going on. Putting up 3 or 4 signs around the neighborhood that you're doing painting on a house, plus on the property. Knocking on doors, and then going cold calling at some point throughout the project or at the end of a project to inquire about painting, and then compensating your painters if they get leads. So on our job sites, we have a job site form, which is basically a whole budget breakdown system where they can track their hours and their productivity. But at the bottom of that, there's also a little section for leads. If they get any job site leads, they get compensated, right? I can pay them $25 per lead or whatever I've decided to do for the season. And that way the guys are encouraged to go in. If somebody walks up to the house and they're watching them paint, you're encouraged to go up and say, hey, do you need a paint job? Would you like an estimate? And then you get compensated as a painter. So setting those systems up is important for job site marketing. It is best to do job site marketing at the very beginning and end of each and every job. Job site marketing is effective because it sends a message to the people in the area that the neighbors are painting. It signals trust and ease. The best method is to work your way up one side of the street, cross over, and do the other side of the street on the way back. Encourage your team to introduce themselves to any homeowners they meet and let them know that we're working in the neighborhood, and then be happy to provide an estimate. So at the start of a job, this is kind of what I have the guys do. You get to a job, you're about to start painting, have someone just swing it. One of the guys on the team just swing out for literally 5 to 10 minutes or 15 minutes maximum. And you just go out, give out 25 door hangers, cross the street, come back 25 more, and that's it, right? That's all you have to do. And then everyone around the job site now has a flyer for the people that are painting down on the street. And if you meet anyone, you can introduce yourself. So this is kind of what our door hangers currently look like. This is the design. I like the design of the Colorcraft ones. They're unique in their shape and they're quite catchy. So you can see there how they look on. This one's a little bit different. The one that's on the door handle on the right there, but yeah, they catch the eye and they're quite simple. And it's really just a call to action to go to the website and book an estimate, or text us or call us. So another tactic that just works great on its own is just putting up the door hanger that we just saw all on its own. So you can just pay a field marketer to just literally walk around neighborhoods, try and find neighborhoods that are just nice in lines where it's just like houses are right next to each other. Those are optimal, and you can just go and put out door hangers. It's really kind of a nice little job for someone that wants to just chill. They can kind of put on their headphones, listen to podcasts, listen to music, and just put up door hangers. And I'll often do that in the summertime, is some of the guys that don't, and it's also a nice little break from cold calling. So if you don't want to just cold call straight because it's a little bit emotionally exhausting, you can just put up door hangers for an hour or two, take a break, and then go back to cold calling. So say if you had a full-time field marketer paying him about $20 an hour to go in door hanger, they should be able to put up about 3 hangers per minute. That's about 180 per hour. And the conversion on door hangers, they converted about 1%, or in this case, let's say it's even 0.5%. If you are getting a conversion of about 0.5% on door hangers, which I think it's a bit more, it's usually about 1%, you should be averaging at least 1 call per hour in the long run. So if 180 door hangers go up, 1% or 0.5% is at least 1 or 2 call-ins that you're going to get at some point throughout the year. A lot of people save the door hangers, especially like older folks. They'll just grab it off their door, and if they like the flyer, they'll just keep it and put it in a drawer often. So this is kind of how the costing comes out. So you'll notice I'm always trying to figure out what the return is on all these different marketing channels, right? That's really what you're trying to evaluate as you collect data on your efforts. And at the end of the year, I'll go and I'll actually look how much I spent on each thing, and then I'll also look how many leads came in from each source, and then I'm able to calculate my cost of acquisition from each different channel. What is giving me the best ROI on my money? It's always good to have a good diversity of it because they all work together when you have a nice, healthy marketing mix. That's why I suggest 3 to 5 different channels at least. So if you run the cost on this one, a door hanger costs about 18 cents. So if you do 180 in an hour, plus $20 an hour that you pay to the person delivering it, that works out to about 52.4 cents per estimate if you factor in the cost of printing the door hangers. So the only downside to this is that we can't control when clients call in, right? It's more of a passive strategy. Versus cold calling, we could just get a lead. We literally could go and knock on someone's door and get their phone number and email and call them and set up an estimate. So, yeah, some people hold on to these things for months, and that's kind of the only drawback. The reason door hangers receive a better response in terms of conversion is just that they're more visible from the street. When you're walking down the street, you can see it hanging on the door, and the client physically has to remove it from the door handle. Whereas if you're doing direct mail, which we're going to get to, it's in their mailbox. So it's not quite as visible. It's not as in your face. Yeah. Same as before, the best method is just literally walk down one side of the street fully. When you get to the end, cross the street and then walk back. Or if you have 2 people doing it, they each just walk on one side of the street. There is no higher endorsement a customer can give you than to place your business logo on their prized front lawn. To everyone in the neighborhood, it says, I recommend Colorcraft. So lawn signs. So yeah, it's like they're giving you a personal recommendation. And at the end of every job, we want to ask. It's something you don't want to forget. You want to be asking if we can leave lawn signs for a few weeks. But then you do definitely have to come pick it up. It's really irritating if you don't come pick it up after you left it there. I get a lot of calls where we forget sometimes, and you need to have some kind of a system of tracking, whether it's just a simple Excel file or whatever. But asking to leave up a sign is extremely important. It is very noticeable when there's lots of these little signs all over an entire area, all over a postal code. The number one reason people fail to put up lawn signs is that they're afraid to ask to be able to. So we just need to ask. When you book a job, ask if you can put it up. I even offer discounts on jobs, like up to 3% discounts, maybe 5% if it's a smaller job, just to put up a sign for a couple months, right? And it's definitely worth it. Although it is a passive strategy, it all works as part of the marketing mix. Yeah, in reality, around 50% of people who are happy with the service will say yes to lawn signs. Steps. Ask for a lawn sign at every job, no exceptions. Earn your lawn sign with great customer service and a perfect painting finish. Place your lawn sign perpendicular to the flow of traffic so it's visible in both directions. I think that one's funny because I often see like some competitors and stuff. They'll put like the lawn sign like facing across the facing the street, so only really the couple people across the street from the house can see the lawn sign. What you want to do is make it perpendicular so that the oncoming cars can see it. And then keep your promise to actually pick up the sign. If somebody gives you permission to leave up a sign for your benefit, go pick it up when you say you're going to do it. So make sure you put it in your phone or put it into a tracking file. Guerilla lawn signs. This is different. Also a good tactic, but it's different than strategically asking our customers for placements, right? This is really just putting it up on municipal and public land without asking, and just putting it up. It's called a guerrilla tactic, but you got to be prepared for fines. So I have had I think not very many fines relative to how much I've done it, but I have had a lot of fines for just, I'll just go out, or I'll get the marketing team to just go out, and I'm like, guys, just go put up 30 signs all over the area. And when I do that, I expect I'm probably going to get some complaints and calls from the city maybe, but it really depends on the city you're in. Some cities just don't care, and you never get a call, and you certainly never get a fine. So you got to know your area basically. And the only way to really know is to give it a try. You'll know pretty quick how on it your city is by how quickly you get a complaint or a call. So you don't want to be too ridiculous with guerrilla lawn signs, right? You can do it gracefully to a degree, right? It's not pollution. So while lawn signs are effective, guerrilla signs should not be overused, as too many of them will end up looking like sign pollution. So that's not what I want to do anyways. That's not what I'm trying to do in my community. I'm trying to raise awareness, but I don't want to pollute the community with my signs everywhere. And that'll honestly probably be a bigger detractor to the brand than anything. Guerrilla signs are typically placed on grassy boulevards, grassways, parking strips, berms, I'm not sure what that is, that belong to the city. Never place a lawn sign on private residential property. So never do that. Don't put it on somebody else's property. We're talking about city property. Do your part by not overusing signs. Only place one per highly visible area. So obviously you want to be putting these guerrilla signs up all over places that are high traffic. And then, refreshing your sign placements to avoid complaints. So sometimes you want to keep track of it. So if you're going to put up 30 signs, track where each one of them was put up and then 10 to 15 days later, go and take all the ones that are still there down, and then go do it again with new, fresh locations. And that, yeah, it also gives the appearance that there's a lot more of them all over the place than are actually up when you actually move them around. So lawn signs are a great way to build brand presence in an area that would then be followed up by other marketing tactics, such as field marketing, direct mail, door-to-door. So this is all things you want to do for Own the Neighborhood, right? It's all part of the marketing mix. It's all working together. So if you get a flyer in your mailbox, then you get someone knocking on the door, and then you see a couple of Guerilla signs around the neighborhood. Then you see a painting team working in the area with a sign on the property. This is all working together in synergy, and that is what owning the neighborhood is all about. Yeah, it's important to note that lawn signs lead to complaints. When you receive a complaint, simply apologize and remove the sign as soon as you can. So you got to be prepared to just apologizing when you're doing this tactic. And I do encourage the tactic when you're in startup. I really do. It's, it's kind of bold. It's kind of like the Richard Branson boldness. This is not even nearly as bold, right? He drove a tank down the main avenue, I think, when he was launching one of his Coca-Cola brands, Virgin Coke or something, right? So we're just being aggressive and just kind of getting the name out there. And if there's a lot of people complaining, that means there's also a lot of people noticing the brand. So the last thing is expect to lose your signs. So if you're going to do this tactic, if it's $10 a sign and you're going to put up 30 of these, that's $300. You should expect that's $300 that is gone. You're not going to collect these signs again. Don't worry about it. Just budget to reorder the signs in the new year, and that's it. Yeah, they do work, so it is a good tactic. We already talked about that. Parketing. So, professional vehicles look awesome. I think in my first year, we recorded almost 25% of revenue came from people seeing the Colorcraft branded vehicle. When I say revenue, I mean like the lead flow came in from people being like, oh, I saw the van. That's why I'm calling. I need a painting estimate. So the whole point of investing in the brand and the wrap is to maximize exposure. So we want them parked in optimal locations. And that is what the name parketing means. So you have a parketing schedule typically. So I usually do a month. So I'd have 12 locations that have been very specifically selected all over my target regions where I'm going to park the van. And I'm looking for like the ideal spots where I'm not going to get towed. I'm legally allowed to park there. It's high traffic, so a lot of people are going to see it. And it's basically just a big billboard. Yeah, not being strategic with van placements is a very big, massive missed opportunity. So to give you some context, if I'm doing 500 grand and I think that around 20, let's even just say 20% of our revenue or our lead generation is coming from people seeing the van and then calling to the call center, that's 100 grand. 100 grand of revenue coming in from that. Think about that. That's so much. And if these vinyl wraps, they cost, I believe, $3,300. So if you take 33 divided by 100, yeah, it's not much. That's 3%. So we talk about like all these things working together and our marketing budget. Yeah, 3.3%. So maximum 5% that's a very good investment, a very good return on investment. And that's compounded. That in year one, you're going to spend $3,300 on a brand, on a vehicle wrap, and then it pays itself off tenfold in year one, and then year two, it just keeps going, right? You don't have to reinvest in it. You just got to wash your car. These vinyl wraps last probably like 5 to 7 years, I'd say, before you have to rewrap. So I would never not do it again, right? Like now that I understand the actual return on investment of parketing, and this is a passive strategy. You don't have to do anything really. That's just your car. You need to have it anyways for operations. So you might as well make the investment and get it done well. Most of the spots that you'll use to park the vehicle in the evening are free, but it is worth the money to spend up to 300 or whatever you think a month just on a good spot. I've never done it myself, but I have met other people who have. Yeah, when you consider parking a parking spot, a paid parking spot, you're more likely to have success with like going to independent owners of small. You think of it. If you had a little restaurant and then somebody came to you and said, "Hey, I'll pay you $300 a month if I can park this here in the evenings after work," that's a nice little cash flow for a restaurant. A big chain is not going to give a shit about anything like that, so I wouldn't bother with that unless it's like a Walmart, but they're not going to charge you. You can just go to a Walmart and park it there. Yeah, but going even to like large events like home shows and carnivals and festivals. These are all great parking opportunities, even if you're not even participating in the events. But don't miss out on the opportunity for parketing campaigns. Make sure you're parking your van in an optimal spot and that it's really well branded. So I really like our vehicle wraps. They're nice and clean. It's very clear, the brand, Colorcraft Painting. And people sell. That's why I put people on our van. A cute girl there who we hired, and she was an out of work actress, and she was very nice. And then me, I just did the other side. So yeah, how to implement the tactic: wrap your vehicle, always be searching for new parking locations, always park your wrapped vehicle in highly visible locations, approach independent businesses to secure paid parking spots if needed, and always have more spots on hand than vehicles so that you can move your vehicles around your territory, right? So if you have 2 or 3 vehicles that are like production vehicles like this one, yeah, have 10 parking spots that are just good to go. You know that they're secure, you know where they are, and I have a GPS in all the vehicles as well, so I always know where they are. So it's cool when you can kind of open your GPS app and you can see like all these vehicles parked at night strategically in these advertising locations, basically. So when they're not in production working and making money, they're in their parking spot marketing. It's like such a good return. This vehicle is just being maximized in every way possible. So you really want to just think through that. Like if you're going to spend, I think these are $80,000 vans, but they're worth it. Like they last forever. You got to brand them. And that's it all works together once again in the marketing mix. People see the van, then they see a sign, then they get a door hanger, then somebody knocks on their door, then they see the crew painting, and yeah, that's marketing for you, right? Parking schedule. Schedule each vehicle you have to be parked at one set location for a month at a time. Keep track of the location using an Excel tracker. And yeah, that way I do about 12 spots a year. People are seeing your van all over the place. Even in my first year, when I had one van, I used to get people saying, "Oh, I see your van everywhere." And I'm like, yeah, cool. Yeah, I got vans everywhere. But it's really just because you keep moving these things strategically, so it seems like they're seeing different vans all over the place. All right, for direct mail, we're actually going to go through it, and we're going to prepare a mailing, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the strategy of direct mail in general. So direct mail is a very effective way to reach potential customers via post, and it can be targeted or untargeted or somewhere in between. So the best practice is to use the tool we talked about in the previous video, the Precision Targeter from Canada Post, and we build our targeting campaigns and gather all of our data, and then we can make a strategy. The way I like to do it is to have it basically on an automation. I know that I want to have, I want to do it once every 2 weeks. I want to spend about $500 every 2 weeks and target these specific neighborhoods and maybe I want to hit this neighborhood 6 times per year. You don't really want to hit something one time. You want to really get a consistency so that people really start getting a consistent mailing from you. So we target by the same demographics as we used before, but we're looking for people who own their houses, people who have an income of at least $100,000, I would say, for the household. I'd probably be leaning more towards $150,000, and they live in single detached houses, single family. A typical non-directed mail program involves bulk mail to specific neighborhoods in your greater targeted area. These are not addressed to a specific name or address. We simply target by the zip code or FSA. And targeted mail programs are more expensive than non-targeted programs, and generally I don't think they're worth the cost. I think you're better off to just target these specific data points and bring consistency, and that's it. If you're not going to do it consistently, don't do it at all. And I think you really need to be hitting neighborhoods at least 6 times a year with your campaign. So you would build out the entire direct mailing campaign strategy before you even start the year. And that way you can just kind of have every 2 weeks, you have a specific drop-off point and you know exactly what you need to do. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to build that out right now. This is the flyer that we use, or we used last year. And I've actually simplified it since then, just to make it a little bit less writing on the back of the flyer. So that's the front and that's the back. It's like a postcard. And I think direct mail is a really great strategy to implement, and I use it. I've been consistently using it since I started Colorcraft, as well as I've used it in my past franchise business and last brand. So really over the last 10 years, I've been consistently doing it, and it does have a good return. When you calculate it out, I think it comes out to like $42 per estimate that gets into our system. And what I like about it is the customer calls in, or they will actually just book their own appointments online through the online booking engine. So it ends up being very good leads. They've already they like your brand already. They've already kind of done their investigation, their own work. And that's the benefit of a passive strategy, is that they're calling in. You're not going to them, right? You should budget enough to deliver between 4,000 and 8,000 pieces per month. A typical direct mail strategy targets a focus area of about 2,000 to 4,000 homes, hits them twice in a 4 to 6 week period before you move on to a new area. So what I like to do to maximize is like you hit an area, and meanwhile, while you're hitting that area code with your direct mail, you've also got your door-to-door marketers going out, and they're carrying door knockers. And then you've also got signs all over the area. And you'll find that you kind of just move in these clusters. So you kind of focus on one area code for 4 weeks. And then by the time you've hit that a couple times with flyers, you've had marketers go through there, you've got signs all over the place. You've probably got a couple jobs going on in that area by this point, especially if they're doing this during the summer. Then you move to the next spot and you do it again. So that, and then you could put your van, you could have that parked out in the area as well. And you're really just owning the neighborhood. It's another implementation to own the neighborhood. So here is our territory that we're going to be targeting. So we've got V6T, V6S on the left there, V6R, V6K, V6L, V6N. So I'm actually going to get all the data for all these different area codes and how specifically I want to target each of them. And I'm going to be able to get all the numbers that I need to start my year. So basically, how many houses in each of these area codes do I want to target? And then it'll give me the exact cost that it's going to take to deliver mail to each of them. And then I just plan my strategy around that. And I kind of go in a cycle. And then I'll coordinate the marketing team to move with me as the direct mail campaign takes off. So let's go and do an example, starting with... let's say we start with V6S is our first place that we're going to hit in January. So let's go get the data for that, and we'll go and prepare a mailing for it right now. So the first thing that I need to do is go in and I have my kind of daily report files. So one of them is my direct mailing strategy, and we're actually going to start building out the strategy. So this is an entire Excel document committed just to door knocker delivery strategy and direct mail strategy. And we need to put the data in for the year. So this is that's the summary that gives us what our pricing is going to be for the whole year based on it's going to take all the different months. And and then so we basically have to fill out 1 month at a time. But we're really just going to use the same strategy in each month and build a consistency program. So I want to figure out how much I want to spend on this strategy. So maybe it's $15,000, maybe it's $20,000 for the year. And that, if you divide that out, it's probably like $1,800 a month on this strategy. And this is going to give me all the costing. And once I have this strategy fully broken down, so if you go into these January here, I can actually see what are the postal codes that I want to deal with. So say I might be doing a drop once a month, or maybe I'm doing a drop just twice a month or 3 times a month, or maybe it's every week, and which postal codes I want to hit. And there's the cost per postal code. But first we got to know how many houses per postal code that meet our criteria that we've specified in Canada Post based on those 3 that we've already talked about. So we actually have to one by one fill this out. And this is something you want to do at the start of your year. And then once it's built, you can just execute. It's really simple and easy after that, or you can automate it altogether. So first things first, we need to get, so if I go back here, the direct mailing strategy, I need to get data for V6R. I want to do V6S. Let's do V6R. Let's do V6S. Let's do V6R, S, and T. V6T. And V6T. That can be 1. Flyer drop. Well, let's say we do it once every 2 weeks. We'll do a second drop on the second week or the third week of every month. And I want to hit, so basically every 4 weeks we're going to drop a flyer, which I think is reasonable. Why don't we do K, L, and N? K, L, N. Maybe even J. K, L, N, J. K, L, N, J. Okay, so we go back. V6K. V6L. V6 N. What was the other one there? V6J. So I'll put these all in for now, but we'll see what the cost actually ends up coming out to. I've already checked. My pricing for the year is about 12.8 cents per flyer dropped, and I think I want to target around $20,000 spend. We're going to do $1 million of revenue this year, or this year coming up. So our budget for the year. So if we're doing about a 7% or let's say 8% marketing spend for the year, times $1 million, that's $80,000 on marketing this year. I'm going to spend about $30,000 on cold calling at least. So maybe $20,000 for the flyer direct mail strategy, which we're going to automate it and make it a passive strategy. I really like doing that. This is like the only thing I used to do with my old brand. I didn't like cold calling back in those days, which I think I mentioned. But I've now turned around and now I'm really into cold calling again because it's so cheap and effective. But that's it. So now we have the postal codes we want to check out. And now we got to get the data for each of these postal codes. So we go into our mailing again. We're going to sign in. If you have not got an account already, make an account. If you're a franchisee with us, you can use my account because I've got probably pretty good deals. And we're going to go to Precision Targeter. Let's go on here. Search. Precision Targeter. And there it is. And this is what we are looking for. So we'll get all the data we need, start a new mailing. And then once we have all the data, so 6 grams, taxes, BC. We don't want to target, we only want to target houses. We want, anyway, yeah, sorry, I was saying once we get all the data we need for each of these postal codes, then I'll actually show you through, we'll go all the way through and I'll show you actually how to make an order. In which case you print off like labels and you submit the order and pay for the order online right here. And then you just drop the boxes off at the specified delivery depot. So building occupation, we only want people who own. Incomes, we only want people who make at least 100 grand. Building type, we only want single family houses. So this is our call-in avatar right here. That's who we're looking for. So first one, let's do V6R. That's the postal code. R, continue. And here we get all of our data. It's going to give us how many houses are in the area total. So there's 2,600 houses in the area. We only want to target, so the really red ones, like I mentioned before in the last video, the red stuff is the really high match. Anything that goes more into the blue becomes a lower match. So probably more rentals, less ownership, incomes under 100 grand. So I don't want to deal with any of that. I only want to target places that have at least a 50% match to my criteria or higher. So the way you do that is you go into here. It's statistic thing. And I can see the matches. And I can actually see the breakdown of what percentage these people in this neighborhoods in these letter carrier walks match. So I don't want to send any flyers to there. I don't want to send flyers to this guy. I don't want to send flyers to anything under 50%. I mean, you can use your own judgment of how much you want to target that way, but with Colorcraft, our positioning and how much we actually charge, we're typically the highest bidder. Like, we're the highest price when we show up for estimates, and that's where we want to be. And we want to have the best painters, and we want to pay the best painters. So you can refer to the branding video, but how this is all coming together, right? We want it all to work in synergy. Our brand, how we're positioned, who we target. That's looking good to me. So then I would go... how do I go back? So that dropped my my cost. That dropped my cost to 1,943. So that's how much it is for that area. I have 1,943 houses that match my criteria here. So I will go back to here and number of houses, 1943. 1943. There we go. That's it. That's all I need for that. If you kind of, let's see if you divide that out. I don't think my discount is applied here, but if we take 436.82 divided by 1943, yeah, right now it's coming out at 17.8 cents per delivery. So the discount has not been applied for my account. And that's why if you use this strategy and you actually have a huge volume of delivery, at the end of the year, you can go and we can continue to get better pricing from our sales rep at Canada Post. And that's how it works with paint stores and everything, right? The more volume you do and the more consistent you are with working with them, the better they want to help their partners. And that's the way to look at it, is Canada Post is a partner of ours if we're actually engaging with their strategy. So that looks fine for me. So I'm going to actually go back and we'll do it again. So Canada Post. So we'll do one more. So start a new mailing. And I will do the same thing again. So right now, like I said, I'm just getting the data so that I can build a strategy for my entire year. Taxes included in my price. We live in British Columbia. So I kind of have to redo it. Fortunately, once I've done this, I won't have to keep doing this. Building type building occupancy, own, building type, single detached. We don't want to target any of this stuff, apartment buildings and stuff. Wasted, it just won't get received. It'll be wasted dollars. So I do the next one. Now I go to V6S. So V6S. There we go. And there it is. So this, exclude roots. So this area there's a high match. You can see like tons of the houses are matched. Like it's all red. So only one little tiny strip. But there's only 1,233 houses in this area. So if I go and look at the match here, I'll just exclude that one. And let's exclude these. So that drops. So these are not very many houses. The ones that I'm excluding, there's only 60 houses, 69 or 0, 7, 13 houses. It's not much. Just a few different LCO walks. Like I mentioned before, the letter LCOs is the letter carrier walks. So that's where the actual route that each individual like mailman delivers to. So we don't want any of those routes. That would be 1,153. So let's put that in. 1,153. So you can kind of see right here, the delivery cost so far for the month is about $400, which is, that's okay. I'm okay with that. Next. So I'll just keep doing these, and then we'll that's the whole method. I just do this, and then I look at my budget and see how it looks. And if it looks good, I'm actually just going to copy paste this strategy across all my main months. So I don't know if I'll start in January. Maybe I'd start February, March, April, something like that. So give me like 10 minutes, and we'll come back. Okay, and we are on to our last postal code here. So I'll just finish it off. And then we have all our data. And that's it. And you can actually, I'll show you how to actually save these as well, so you don't have to do this again. So we just do this one more time. That took me like 15 minutes or so. Occupancy, own. Unfortunately, I had to keep on redoing this. Building type, single family, continue. And we're on our last one is V6J. Postal code, V6J. So I'm just gonna, you basically just go through your whole area that you've decided to target, and you're seeing what looks good. So look at this thing. So this looks like it's all just rentals probably. And then this is where like the Shaughnessy. So this is where rich people are hanging out, and they all live in this really rich community. And I know the area, and this is just all rental housing and stratas and apartment buildings. So let's get rid of all that. So the total area, postal code is 1205. Once we click into our data and get rid of all this stuff, so we don't want to target any of this. It's all, 24% match to our criteria. That's terrible. So let's get rid of all that, and it's probably going to end up being just a few hundred houses. And likewise, I'm going to make sure my cold calling team only goes to these areas that are it's going to follow the same thing. So I'd probably do a flyer drop, and then the cold calling team would follow, within the week they'd follow behind the flyer drop. So it kind of warms up the area. You do the flyer drop, and that's how you synergize the strategies. have everything working together so that your customers are not getting overwhelmed, but they're getting consistent exposure from different channels. That's it, I think. So that's only 393 houses. 393. And the last step I forgot to add was getting the delivery location. So if you can place the order, and you can actually save each one of these. So this was V6J, and I saved that mailing that I just organized. So this one, this data gets saved for me. And then you can go in and place your order. So once you get to the place your order page, this is where it gives me all my information. This is where I need to drop off the flyers for that postal code. And then I drop that in here. So it's the same one again. So you can see how you want to group it all. My flyer drops into into the locations that are the same, so that I'm not having the marketing manager is not having to visit multiple locations. So with the first drop, we just have to do one location for Vancouver. We're also targeting another city called Squamish. It's a small town, so there's only one depot for that. And then the second drop, which you do on around the 15th of the month, you'd go and you do all these postal codes in one drop to this one location. And the total flyers for that would be, let's see, equals the sum of these guys. So 5,000 flyers right here. Total, let's see. So I can kind of do that with all of these, I guess. Boom. So you can kind of see 7,000 flyers on this drop, 5,000 flyers on this drop. So for the month, we're looking at targeting about 13,000 flyers. Or, wait, that's way more. Oh, it's grabbing all of it. Okay. Why don't we do equals sum of these plus the sum of these yeah, let's do that plus the sum of that plus the sum of that plus the sum of that. Yeah, so there you go. 12, that's the total flyers. 12,000 and there we go. So that's what that looks like. So I grab all my delivery locations, and then I can kind of organize in here and make sure that looks good to me. So that would come out to a total delivery cost for the month of 15,900. So I'm not going to do deliveries 12 months of the year, but let's just say I'm going to do 7 months of deliveries consistently in a row. So starting maybe in February. So February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, so let's just say that's August. That'd be 7 months times 1596. That'd be $11,000 in delivery costs for the year, which I think that's pretty good for what I'm looking to do. Okay, so the next step here would be to proceed, and I would actually just organize my mailing. So if we were to get this mailing organized, and I got to get all my delivery, my like labels and stuff, so I can continue. And with this is the actual bundling. So they like it when you drop at the Canada Posts. Every different like type of delivery service is going to have their own recommendations and things they want to make it easy for them. Canada Post likes it when you drop it in bundles of 100. So I bring big box. I have my actual flyer printing company bundle everything into hundreds when they give me the printed flyers, and that makes it easy for Canada Post. And the boxes they give it to me are in, these are the dimensions of the boxes. I think it's inches. Okay, so that looks good, and then I apply this skids or mono. Let's just do that. Apply this, and I can continue. Right, so then it takes me to this page, and yeah, I input my credit card information, and that's it. Then I can continue, and once I do that, it'll give me some like labels and stuff like that that I can save and print out on my computer, and you just bring that with you to the post office. I'm not going to do one right now, but you would run this, and as soon as you process the payment, yeah, then the next page would be a little thing that says print your labels, and this is what you attach to the boxes that you're bringing down there. So let's just see that the pricing all looks good. So if you do this particular area code or postal code was 393 flyers. So if we take $53.24 divided by 393, actually we want the before tax price because GST is actually a write-off in the business, so we don't want to calculate that. So 50.7, we take this price here, 50.7 divided by 393, and that would come out to 12.9 cents, which is exactly what we have here. Or close. Let's actually adjust it then. Be exact. So it's 12.9 cents for our mailings for the next year, unless they do a price change. So I'll want to check in with my rep to see if prices are going up next year. I know that there's a lot of inflation it's 2021 right now, and 2022 there's going to be a big inflation rate, probably 6% or so, which is ridiculous. So you just want to be mindful and make sure you're getting the correct costs when you're doing your marketing budget, which is what we're going to be covering in the next video module. So that's it. That's everything. So we've gone through how to actually place an order for a postal code. We've gone through how to get the data and make a strategy and based on where you want to go. So in our case, I want to target this whole Western Vancouver area, and I'm going to hit each of these postal codes once per month. And if I do that, my delivery cost is going to come out to about $1,600 per month in just the delivery cost. The next thing I'll do right now actually is then now duplicate my strategy. So I'm going to grab all of this and let's do it. I want to start in February, let's say. So I'm going to actually just go ahead and duplicate it. So boom, oopsie. Boom. So February, March, April, May, I want to hit another one. So June. Yeah, June. July. And we'll do August as well. And if you actually go over here, this is actually a door knocking delivery schedule. So sometimes if you want to make a strategy for people that just literally walk around putting up door hangers, like I mentioned before, is one of the tactics. I don't think I'm going to do that right now. We're just going to go with the direct mail, I think. So, and I don't actually think we're going to do anything in January. It's a bit early for direct mail. So I'm going to delete the strategy for this month. Cool. So now if I go to my pricing summary over here, I can see all my stuff. So February, how many flyers are going to get used? Based on, it's right now our rate is 5 cents printing costs per flyer. The delivery cost is going to be, so this is actually calculating it for me. So it's $623 to print 12,000 flyers for that month. Then it's going to cost $1,596 to deliver it. And this is all automatically going to populate for you. This whole direct mail strategy template can be found in the resource center, the Colorcraft Resource Center. And so my monthly cost for the strategy is going to be $2,200 for printing and delivery. Total cost for the year based on 6 deliveries. So I'm going to start in February and end in August. So just for the exterior season, unless you want to do, and you can see here there's the seasonality of the flyer. So if you wanted, you can get into interior painting, and maybe you would continue delivering if you want to go all year round. For now, I'm not going to price it on that because I think I'm going to go rock climbing at the end of next painting season, and I'm going to go to Mexico and climb. So that's my plan. But if you want to go all year round and just really get your flywheel running and building momentum, I strongly encourage. Momentum is good. That's it. So that is how you build a plan. This number here, we've got these $2,200. That is directly what I'm going to put into my business plan now. So I could actually do that right now if I wanted to. So now if I go to my business plan, I can just go to my cash flow plan right here, cash flow. No, sorry, not the cash flow, the marketing budget. And I can just put directly into the strategy now what I want to do. So direct mail, here it is. I'm going to do $0 here. And what is it? It's $22.20. So that's pretty close, $22.20. And I'm just going to do that every month until August. Boom, that is how I got my pricing into my budget now. So now it's literally just a matter of dropping off flyers twice a month at these 3 locations. Or where are they? Yeah, these 3 locations, and that's the whole strategy now. Your marketing manager can just do that, or you can do that, or whoever's in charge of marketing can just drop that. And it's just a really clean strategy for the whole year. And I can expect, so what am I going to actually deliver? If you go back to your pricing strategy, I'm going to drop 87,000 flyers for the year. So I got to make sure this is a good time now that I would actually just order that many flyers. So I'd probably just order 100,000 flyers in bulk and just store them. But 87,000 flyers are going to go out for the year. So if I'm going to assume a less than half of 1% conversion. So 87,325 times 0.005 conversion. And maybe that's even ambitious, but that'd be like 400 leads. That's a crazy amount of leads. So if you get that's 436 leads. So if you do that numbers here, equals that much times 0.00 even 25%, let's call it. That'd be 218 call-ins, people that are calling in to schedule estimates. And generally with flyers, they actually just go onto the website and they just book themselves right into the schedule, right? If we go to the Colorcraft website, people literally just come to the website and they book and they just schedule themselves right in. Boom. That's what the strategy is all about. They can just do it themselves and pick whatever they want, right? So if we're getting 218 leads, and let's just say we have a lead slippage of 25%. So let's say that 0.75% of these are going to convert into estimates. That's 163 estimates, right? That would mean if we can book 50%, so it equals this times, let's say even 33%. If we can book, that would mean 54 jobs. And if the average job size is 4,000, AJS is 4,000, 1, 2, 3, equals 54 times that. So what is that? Undo. We can expect to book $216,000 off of this strategy. That's a lot. So if you actually do the numbers, if you do 15,500 divided by, divided by 216, 1, 2, 3, that's a 7% conversion, right? If you go 216 divided by 15,000, or sorry, it's the other way around. This divided by that, 7%. That's the, or put it in percent. 7% perfect marketing budget, marketing spend. Right? And I think you could actually do a lot better than that. That was based on 33% SR. Right? Anyway, that is how you build your direct mail strategy. So let's move on to the next strategy. So email marketing. So email is the easiest and most cost-effective way we can reach customers to increase repeat and referral business. Email marketing does, however, require that you have a book or happy customer you can market to. It's best to create some visually appealing email templates, which you can hire out using Upwork, or you can build yourself, or you can use MailChimp, or you can just go and look up some how-to videos. And realistically, with a painting company, we want to send about 8 to 12 emails a year. That's pretty good for this industry. We don't want to be spamming people every week, or I know some businesses do every day they're sending emails. We don't need to do that. We just need to kind of base it around our seasons, update clients, and just keep them top of mind. We want them to keep us top of mind. So that's what email marketing is all about. And, maybe sending out promotions and referral strategies through email can be good too. But I find it's very much just informational, helping people prepare for the next season of painting, how-to tips around the business. But this is an entire strategy on its own. We're not going to go into deep detail on this. And I, as the franchisor, am now, I kind of take care of this, and we have a big enough book of business now that we can really get going with this strategy. So the schedule is generally between January and October. This is when we want to be sending these emails. And things to promote, just centered around home transformations, testimonials. That's a really good thing to put in emails. And anything. And they should all have a call to action of some sort that sends people to the website where they can book themselves into our booking engine. Next strategy would be past customer calling. So again, you need a book of business before you can do this. So all of your happy customers from the years prior, you just go right into your CRM and build a report of all of your past customers and scan through it and just literally sit down and start calling. This is a strategy you can do a few times a year. I usually do it twice a year maybe. And it takes a day or just however many. If you have 200 clients for the year from past year, or past couple of years, you could probably get through that whole list in 2 days. So you can hire someone to do this, do it yourself, and usually want to follow a script to do this. And then you can just make an Excel document and just one by one go through numbers and leave notes and do all that kind of stuff and update your CRM as you go. The next one would be past estimate calling. So this is all the estimates from the previous few years. You're checking in to see if they've already done their painting, if they're wanting to revisit it this year or get a new estimate, because most of the time the estimates expire at the end of the year. And once again, you want to keep all of this stuff really well tracked and documented in your Google Drive as well as your CRM, so that you're not double calling and duplicating, and you're just actually building rapport and getting information and documenting that information, right? So sometimes I'll make a phone call and it's hey, Mr. Jones, we came by last year and we did an estimate for you. We never heard back. I know you were looking at getting a few more quotes. Did you end up having the work done, or were you wanting to revisit that this year? And then whatever he responds, no matter what that response, I'm going to record that in my CRM system so that the next time I touch base with him, if he doesn't go and book this year or if he's holding off, I can call again in 6 months and be hey, last time I spoke with you, you said blank, 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 and you can actually build off of rapport that you had in the past. So again, another very important tactic that right now it is November, so I will actually be engaging in these two things within the next month: past estimate calling and past lead calling and past customer calling. Yeah. Again, same thing, past lead calling. So these are people who got into the pipeline and they got into your CRM, but they might not have ever booked their estimate. So maybe a cold caller picked up their information, they wanted some painting done, but that lead never got converted to a scheduled estimate. So same thing, we want to do that and just go through it, take notes, put it in the CRM, update it, and ideally we're just scheduling more estimates. So these are all just strategies to put more estimates in the system. So as we get into the budgeting section, which is going to be the next video, we're actually going to do the financial budgeting. We are using all this stuff. So this is just an example of owning the neighborhood and really starting to combine the strategies that we want to commit to. And this is what the marketing mix is all about. Actually picking the tactics we're going to invest in, and then the frequency from which we're going to implement each of these tactics, right? So say marketing or parketing, it's going to be every night. We're going to have our van parked at this corner, and then at the end of the month, we're going to switch it to this corner, and I'll probably have a 12 parking spot rotation. Lawn signs, we're going to have 25 out at a time. This is every week, we're going to have 25 lawn signs out at any given time. And same thing, we're going to rotate those signs so it's not just polluting an area. We'll go and put them up for 10 days, 15 days, go pick them up, go put a whole new schedule of signs out. And once again, you want to track this. Where are all these different signs? And have it on a mapped out. And the marketing manager can really take care of that. Direct mailing. We just went through the direct mailing. So we want to do that twice a month, on the 1st of the month and the 15th of the month. This is how many flyers are going to go out each time. We've already completely outlined where and when and how many flyers to each postal code, where they have to get dropped off. That whole strategy has been developed once at the start of the year. Now you just have to execute it. So it's one visit to the post office every 2 weeks. Past customer calling. So this could be a weekly strategy, or maybe it's just a strategy you do once every 6 months. You sit down and do all your past customer calling, all of your past estimate calling, and all of your past lead calling. And maybe you're just part of that strategy is asking for referrals in the strategy, as well as asking them on the follow-up for their own estimates. Field marketing. Typically, you're doing 3 to 4 sessions per week, and you'll have a whole strategy outlining that. Job production. This is kind of the job site marketing system that you'll have. So you want to have a specific system for job site marketing that the production crews are aware of. And this is something that's going on daily. And this really starts once the production season starts, so in April. Job site marketing, very similar job site marketing to job production. So the residential painting business is all about owning the neighborhood. This means creating the impression that everyone on the street is working with us. We are the go-to brand. That's really what we want to be, is the go-to brand. That is... there's 1,000 painting companies, but in the customer's mind, there's only like 2 or 3, right? Strategic alliances and outreach. So this is working directly with other industries that regularly come into contact with people who need painting. And this is an awesome way to increase the database. In my experience, I've worked with a lot of real estate agents, which is really great. It does them a huge favor because they can just count on me to come give estimates whenever they're selling a house or they're putting a client into a new house. Strategic alliances is also what you're going to ultimately have when you develop the commercial business. You'll have these alliances with, 5 to 10 property managers, and that would be an incredibly large business if you just had 5 or 10 really strong relationships with property managers. You would have a multi-million-dollar business just in commercial alone. So once again, these we want to be a specific strategy for our outreach, and then really building the alliance. That's a whole other thing on its own, but I just want to introduce the tactic right now. So these are the people we can build these alliances with: real estate agents, landscapers, washing or cleaning companies, interior designers, movers, builders, strata councils, and property managers. Direct outreach is really the best method to implement in order to get into contact with all of the above potential alliances. So I'll give you an example of something I gave to my old company, Shack Shine, which is the washing and cleaning company. They operate in the same territory where I have the core of our business going on. So I'll show you a template that I gave their actual cleaning guys. I actually sat down with them and I gave them these laminated one-page documents that had a referral strategy on it. So that anyone on the team, all the different cleaning guys, all their salespeople, they just had a copy of this. And if any leads came in or referrals came in from their team, I would just send them cash. I'd send them a check or whatever, but they'd get money upon receipt of the lead and the confirmed estimate. Or you do a confirmed booking. So it's either a confirmed estimate or confirmed booking. But I'll give you an example right now. So check it out. So this would be a really simple system. I wouldn't put this page, but it would just be this document. So purpose of the document is to provide a basic script on how to ask a client if they would like a painting estimate, to outline how painting estimates, how to schedule painting estimates with Colorcraft online in 3 easy steps, and how to submit estimates for commission payments. So that's the whole purpose of this 2-page document. Here's a brief little script on how to ask if a client needs an estimate. So if you're washing a house and they're doing the driveway power washing, if they notice any paint chipping, they just say, "Hey, Andrea, I noticed that your siding is peeling on the house. We work with a local painting company called Colorcraft. Would you like an estimate for any painting this year? I can set one up in 30 seconds for you online if you want." And then they can just go on their phone, visit our website, and these are the 3 steps to scheduling an estimate on our website. Super quick, simple, and easy. And then on the notes of the estimate, when they submit it, they'd write who they are. Like, so it's Shack Shine Referral and what their name is. And I would actually be able to see that when the estimate arrives in my inbox. And then I can actually just e-transfer over a commission, right? And there's the commission structure right there at the bottom. So that's a really easy strategic alliance template, right? It's a 1-page laminated document. Give 10 of these to each strategic alliance. So cleaning company, landscaping company, this, that, right? They all have it, and it really does work quite wonderfully, this tactic. So for these strategic alliance, using an Excel list building template is great. So I would just build something simple, and then you just gather a bunch of contact information for different strategic alliance that would be potentially good prospective partners. Put them into a list and then start calling and set up coffee dates, basically. Or you can hire this out for like $6 or $7 on platforms like Upwork, which are just freelance websites. You can get someone to go and scrape for, as long as you have good detailed instructions, you can get somebody else to build you a list of like 100 different companies in your local area. And that's a great tactic as well. Same thing with property managers. If you want them to scrape for property management companies with names, email addresses, and phone numbers, and then you can just start calling through, or have someone on your team start calling through. Good tactic. So once you have a solid list of potential partners all over your target city, you can call them directly, or email them. Or to have a combination of all this stuff, and include any attachments and PDFs that you would like to give information about what you're looking to do. So the key to securing local trade partners is to show them how they would benefit from the partnership. So real estate agents who can recommend a quality painting company are more valuable to their clients. Some people may ask you for a referral fee, but most of the time the quality and reliability of the relationship is enough. Providing referrals back is usually how it works. A good target is to have 2 to 3 regular trade partners by the end of your first full year, and then grow from there. So don't have to make it super overwhelming. One really good trade partner can go a long way. You can get a lot of referrals, like 10, 20, 30 referrals off of one person if it's a good working relationship. And then you can kind of start to understand what percentage of your revenue you can expect from trade partners and relationships through strategic alliances. Consistency with this activity over 6 months can yield hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue. So, like I said, if you're consistent with this and you're acquiring one good relationship at a time, this is how you build a good brand and a good partners, and it's a lot more fun. You're working with other people. Trade shows. It's not the greatest photo of a trade show down there, but I've been to many trade shows, and they're kind of fun. They're pretty exciting, and there's a lot of energy. But it's kind of like it's literally like a show. You have to like set up your booth and make it fun and interactive for people. So it takes a lot of energy. You need to be ready to like put on a show and show your best and be in full uniform and branded and rep the company. So it's a really good culture building event to have painters and marketers and everyone just on the team like really amping up the brand. So it is a lot of fun, and I do recommend it. But they can be a little bit expensive. But it does usually have a really good break even, and it has a ton of brand exposure. So like impressions, you get lots of impressions, which it's hard to always tell exactly how that returns. But it is worth it, even just for like the cultural team building side of things. So a good time to do it is in the spring or the fall. All major cities will usually have these home improvement trade shows, and the entry costs can be high, but you get access to thousands of potential customers, and it really only takes a few sales up front to recoup the cost, especially with painting because our average jobs are so big. It's really massive tactic when it comes to brand development. So once you've secured your spot in the show, you need to start thinking about how to set up your booth. Remember, you won't be the only house painting company at the trade, so you need to stand out. So bring all your best gear and buy some cool stuff, buy a cool tent, I don't know, stuff like that. All good stuff though. It pays off. So tips when you are at a trade show. Once again, I could do a whole video just on how to do trade shows, but it's about engaging with people and like having fun and really being conversational. You don't want to be hiding behind your table and just like sitting there waiting for business to come to you. You need to like actively start conversations with people about their home. Having little competitions is kind of cool too, like a wheel. I don't know, like a wheel where they can get free stuff included on their estimates. And with this, I have an iPad with me when I do this stuff. And you bring the iPad and you literally, if somebody has any interest in painting, you just schedule it directly onto the website, schedule an estimate. And that's the key, is to actually just sit there all day scheduling estimates on the spot for clients that are interested in getting painting done in the summer. And that also just gets their contact into your CRM system, which is all valuable. That is, all leads into the CRM are valuable. Networking. So, yeah, this is, again, if you're a people person, this is great. If you're not, it's really just getting out to meet professionals in your community, which is nice. It's very community-oriented to just become masterful at networking. And this isn't just for colorcraft and painting. This is in general. I don't know if this is a passive or active strategy. I'd say maybe more active of a strategy. There's basically two types of networking groups. We got casual contact networks and strong contact networks. So the casual contact networks are business groups that allow people from various overlapping professions. These groups usually meet on like some schedule, like monthly. And on occasion, these networks have guest speakers. These groups offer significant breadth to your goal of developing a word-of-mouth based business, and because it enables you to meet hundreds of other business people. So if you want to just get out there and meet more business people and just get involved with business community, it is fun to do this and to bring it on as an active tactic. I have never been that big in it with my home service business. I don't know why. I just haven't commit to this tactic myself that often. But some people, if you really like going to meeting other professionals, this is an excellent tactic. Strong contact networks are groups that meet weekly for the primary purpose of exchanging referrals. So this is a little bit more specific. It's a more direct, like, we are here to do business. It's not as casual, straight up. They often have memberships that are restricted to one person per profession so that you're not competing with other painters in this case. And they're more structured in their meeting formats. Their meetings include open networking, short presentations by group members, longer and more detailed presentations by one or two members, and yeah, time devoted solely to passing business referrals. So being in this type of a network is a much bigger commitment. I've never been in one like this, but I have a lot of friends who are in them and have been in them. And I think it's just the level of commitment is what why I've not wanted to. I feel it restricts me a little bit, but that's just me, right? But you're going to get a lot of really solid referrals because the purpose of it, if you make the commitment, is that you're there to share referrals. We're going to get into this at the end of this video, but you can't do everything. And that's really the main reason I haven't done it. It's not because it doesn't work. It's because I just can't do everything, and I'm committed to other tactics that make up my marketing mix. So, yeah, a good example of this kind of an organization is BNI. It was a group founded in 1985, and it's now kind of one of the largest ones for this kind of strong contact network. Digital. This is going to be the biggest overview ever about digital because it is such a complex, comprehensive rabbit hole of information and stuff to know when it comes to digital. So we're going to just shoot over the top of all the different tactics when it comes to digital. And again, you can't do all this. And I'd say until you're kind of a multi-million-dollar company, to do it well is a big investment because it takes a lot of data collection to really start making sense of the information and refining your marketing spend. So I've basically in my life, I've often relied mostly on traditional marketing channels that are direct marketing channels like cold calling and stuff. But I have started on the digital path, and my ROI has not been as high at this point in my journey, but I do get returns from it. And I think it does go back to having the full marketing mix. Everything is working together. So my digital efforts, they do help my cold calling efforts and all my other brand recognition methods. They work together. So I have started making the transition, but from a data point of view, I have not seen the ROI returned at the same levels yet. But I am committed to developing this over the next several years. And especially for Colorcraft, as a franchise now, this is going to become more and more my role is to move into digital. So today our customers have access to information anytime, any place that they want it or need it. It is more important than ever to stay up to date on digital marketing. This includes search engine optimization, pay-per-click advertising. This is how our customers are going to increasingly be finding us at Colorcraft. However, like I said, it all works together in the marketing mix. Google My Business. So here is the first kind of little tactic I'm going to introduce that we have been doing. We're starting to get a lot more consistent with it, but we want to be building up the Google reviews. So there are a lot of review sites out there, whether it's Yelp or HomeStars. Again, you can't build up every single channel of reviews, and you can't go and ask customers for reviews on like 4 different sites. You got to pick a channel. I choose Google because I think it's still it is the biggest. And I think that's where people go when they go to Google Maps and all that stuff. It shows up. So Google is where I'm committed. And this is the main way that we show up on the internet. It displays a small map of all our locations, so our different franchise territories, as well as the local business matching the description. So different franchises have their own little territories and cities, and you can break it down that way. But at the end of every single job that we do at Colorcraft, we leave these cards, right? I got these printed at the local print shop. It's just a little postcard. Leave us a review online, and then on the back of the card, instructions on how to leave a review. And this is all part of what you can do to prime a job. When we arrive as a production team, you arrive with the contract in hand or the contract on your cell phone, and the job site manager is going to prime the referral and the review, right? Hey, we're about to get started on the project. Just wanted to confirm all the details, go through the contract with the customer, and then let them know, hey, reviews and referrals is how we grow our business. And would you be open to leaving us a review online if we do a great job for you and you're happy? And then most of the customers will just say, yeah, of course. and that primes the job. And we'll talk about this strategy of having an actual referral and review strategy again at the end of this video. But that's how you do it. You prime it at the start of the job, deliver the job, deliver the promises of the job, and then at the end of the job, you hand them one of these cards when they're doing payment with you, and ask for the review. Hey, here's a little instruction and reminder on how to leave us a review. That would really help us out. Excellent tactic. Very important in the first years of business is to build up your reviews on whichever channel you select. I think for painting, it's Google. That's where I want to be. Google My Business will allow customers to leave reviews on your business. We want to be actively building up our reviews every week. 85% of customers read online reviews for local businesses. This means that our potential clients decide whether to call us based on our reputation on Google. So leave review cards, ask for the reviews. That's probably the biggest mistake people have, is they don't ask for a review. Just like anything, if you don't ask, you don't get it. Ask and you shall receive. Pay-per-click, Google Adwords. We have started doing this with Colorcraft. I have not seen good returns yet. In my old company, Shackshine, it took us 5 years before we broke even on this tactic. However, the average job size at Shackshine was $500, I think, about at the time. And, with Colorcraft, we can obviously afford to pay a lot more because our average job size is like $5,000 or so. But it's also more competitive. There's a lot of painting companies going after this because it's so easy and so direct. So what is pay-per-click? It's an internet advertising model that uses direct traffic to websites. Advertisers like Colorcraft pay Google when an ad is clicked. Google holds roughly 70% of market share for all search engines. So this is where you want to be doing your pay-per-click. Google AdWords is a long-term play. It takes time to optimize, and you likely will not be the one who manages this. So you got to spend time to interview and find yourself a strong PPC account manager. In this case, it will be me. As we get bigger as a brand with Colorcraft, I will either have to really develop this skill, or I'm going to have to try and find the right people to be able to manage it. I tried it this year we just had, and I wasn't committed enough to the tactic yet. And like I said, we're going to talk about just committing to your tactics. At some point, though, this becomes a very important tactic as you grow the company, and you just need to onboard more and more tactics. But it really goes down to mastering and investing in a tactic. So once you have a few months of data under your belt, you can start being more specific and adjusting the campaign's performance. And if you aren't doing this yourself and you're not committed to developing the skill, you need to book a call with your pay-per-click account manager and review results often, so that you can fine-tune your account and refine the plan. So why do people use PPC? Here are the 4 reasons. It is laser-focused targeting. You select relevant targeted keywords and geographic locations where you spend, where you want your ads to appear. The algorithms will continue to refine these results and get even more laser targeted and laser focused over time. The biggest advantage is quick results. It's ease of entrance. Regardless of how you establish the brand in the market, you can reach qualified leads instantly. Reach at the right time. You only reach those who are actually looking for painting. So you don't just wait. It's not exposure. You're getting people who actually searched for painting if you're targeting correctly. And then another one would be it's got really detailed measurability. It's really easy to see your ROI very directly. How many estimates and impressions and traffic, all that stuff it's all measured for you, which is a really good benefit for long term. Facebook. A little bit like Google AdWords, it's another tactic that you got to invest in. And much like Google AdWords, it's the number one social platform to use, and it ensures that people are seeing you and just the general public. Like AdWords, it also takes time to optimize, and you will likely not be the one who manages this either, unless you're committed to developing that skill. But it's a whole complex skill all on its own. So you have to be devoted to the tactic, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you just have to decide if this is the tactic you want to go about. Or for Colorcraft, as a franchise company, we have to decide if this is the tactic we want to really develop and hone into. So you must take the time to interview and find yourself a strong Facebook marketing agency to support you in this type of campaign, unless you're planning on doing it yourself. I don't think these are good skills to really be honing into, though, versus other tactics in the early days. So why do people use this? Well, same as Google AdWords, super laser focused targeting. It's easy to get into. You can start getting results immediately, potentially. And the algorithms on Facebook will optimize for your niche for you. And then you have tons of amazing measurability. So you have really full access into your ROI. Again, ad impressions, traffic to the site, user engagements, leads, and estimates all measured immediately. Social media. Oh, baby. This tactic is about building community. So I do post. I do a lot of before and after photos. I absolutely am not counting on this to get leads. It's a very passive strategy. It's more just like social proof that you are a real company that's doing consistent work. And you want to be building your presence here. But secondarily to just actually doing great work in the community. None of this stuff can replace just being good at your craft, being a professional painting company and having professional painters who are happy that do incredibly good work. You can't mask all that with just social media and direct response marketing and Google AdWords and all that stuff. So this is about showcasing the great work that we do. As a branded channel, social media can drive engagement, reviews, and even leads. But especially in the early years, this is not what we're counting on to develop the business and get the estimates that we need in our system. If I need 1,000 estimates this year, this is not what I'm waiting for to deliver that 1,000 estimates. I'm going to go and actually schedule that into my funnel. Social media is a serious commitment. It requires diligence to build, maintain, and grow an online community. So don't let this tactic get in the way of the actual business, which, like I said, it's developing professional painters. Keep it simple and post before and after photos in the neighborhoods that you're doing painting. And if you're a franchisee with me, send me the before and after photos and I'll post it to our account. And let's just get out there and actually do great work, get referrals, get another job, and then invest the profits. That's what it's really all about. Search engine optimization. Another very long-term strategy. This has everything to do with the website and how optimized and valuable and useful your website is, and all of how everything links together, and your Facebook, and just how you show up on the online world, and how that's being optimized so that it's actually useful for users. So when you're building a website, so I built ours a couple years ago when I started. Colorcraft's 2 years old almost, and that was the first thing I did is I started building out the website. And you want to start by determining all the keywords that you want to be promoting within that website so that you can actually put that into the copywriting. And you're kind of displaying this all over the website, everywhere within it, in online search engines. It's all about optimizing and getting the website to appear organically without needing to pay for it. So versus pay per click, this is it's actually just useful. Your website's just actually useful for people, so people show up there on their own and the algorithms are promoting the site for you. It's different from PPC because it is considered organic and you cannot pay for search engines to increase your ranking. Search engines use various metrics to determine which websites rank higher, such as websites with good content, websites that other websites link to, and a lot more. So this plays a big role in driving revenue, and it does end up being very important in the long term. Again, this is a passive strategy. This is not something in the first few years when you're trying to get the flywheel going and trying to get momentum that you're counting on. This is not it. This is something to stay top of mind as you slowly improve your presence online through reviews and everything else in between. It's quite complex, so this is just a kind of a quick intro to what is search engine optimization. Yeah, one way we can drive more revenue is to increase the amount of relevant traffic to the website. In order to increase traffic, we need to build more pages on the website, which include phrases our customers use when searching for their services online. Things we do want to include. So this is kind of some of the stuff we're including when we're considering search engine optimization. So quality content on the website, proper use of title and meta descriptions, headings, keywords, backlinking, website structure, website speed, information consistency across all your sources. Yeah. In conclusion, those are the list of all the active tactics that we have in the business. Here is a list of various passive tactics that we have in the business. We have covered all of these, an overview of all of them, some of them a little bit more in depth, and some of them we're going to continue to go more in depth and have full videos just outlined for each of these. So that was an overview of all the different things in the marketing mix and how to put all that together. These tactics are based on 25 years of marketing experience in home services. The marketing programs are designed to optimize your marketing dollars. That is really what we're going for, is picking the right mix of all of this and then committing to that strategy so that you can optimize and they can synergize these different strategies. The last strategy I want to touch on is the referral strategy. And I think this is one of the most important strategies. And a lot of companies build their entire company just based on referral strategy. They don't do any of those tactics. None of them. This is probably most of the marketplace, actually. They're just living off of the referral strategy. So we definitely don't want to be casual with the referral strategy. We definitely want this as one of our tactics, and we want to have a system for it. So the strategy 1 with referrals is to underpromise and overdeliver. So deliver what you promise at the least. You provide outstanding results even though no one was expecting it. With all the marketing tactics nowadays, many forget what is most important, the work. So do really good work. This is the first best referral strategy, is just do good work that your customers are like, wow. And then they just tell people about it because they had a good experience. Yeah, it doesn't really matter what you do or what you say long term. All the greatest marketing gimmicks and all this other stuff that is all over the internet now will not beat the long term just doing good work. What you do is what will ultimately matter. Strategy number 2, discount in exchange for a referral. So this is an okay strategy. It's not a huge one I do at Colorcraft because of our positioning in the marketplace, but it's not bad. Discount in exchange for referrals. So this works well for people who think the price is too high. And you can kind of just say, as you know, the lifeblood of our business is referrals. When clients refer me, it's a special way of saying thank you. So your current price that I quoted you is whatever. If you're able to connect me with leads who book with this, I can give you a rebate on that price of whatever you decide. How does that sound? So this is something I would actively ask a customer when they're booking. If they're asking for a discount, I would suggest this. And I do this with signs as well. Sometimes I'll say I do sign discounts. So if you want to display our signs for X amount of months, I can give you up to this amount of dollars off. Remember, keeping in mind, what is our marketing spend? If I don't want to be spending more than 5%, this is how I do it, right? So if a customer is doing a $10,000 job with me and they want $500 off, I'd say, or they want a discount, I'd say, how about if you refer me business, I'll give you $500 off. That's 5%. Same thing as the previous method. We want to ask upfront before the work begins. Or same thing as giving the referral cards. Sorry, not referral cards. The what are they? The review cards we want to ask up front before the work begins. And this gives them time to think about this throughout the job. Yeah, the strategy number 3 is the general referral program. So this is just anyone in your friend groups or in your customer database or employees. You just have a system that's always ongoing. It's a general referral program. You can incentivize anyone in the network or book of business that at any time, if they refer a contact who ends up booking, you will pay a certain amount in cash for the referral. So maybe it's $250 cash for any referral that comes in, and it's just your general referral strategy. These are all good strategies. Should you do them all? Totally up to you. The main ones I do is I do the discount one sometimes. And then strategy 1, I always try and aim for, to actually don't promise things that I can't deliver, at least to deliver what I promise at the very least, if you want to be getting real, genuine referrals. So why do people fail to get referrals? Well, first and foremost, people overpromise and they underdeliver. So if you do this, people will actively tell other people not to use your service. It's as simple as that. They don't do what they say they're going to do. Most people don't ask for referrals until the job's done, or they don't ask at all. So you want to ask for just referrals at the start of jobs, just the same way as you want to ask for reviews at the start of a job. And this primes the customer and yourselves into the intention that you're looking to get referrals. And then you ask again at the end of the job, based on doing a good job, of course. Not having a specific referral strategy. So most people just have kind of this shotgun approach, and it leaves too much ambiguity. They don't really have a strategy for like getting the referral or getting the review, right? And it doesn't have to be complicated. It's just having a script that when you get there, hi, Mrs. Jones, we are growing our business right now, and a lot of that business is through referrals and generating reviews online. If we do a good job for you, would you be open to leaving us a review? That's it. That's the script. And if the customer will almost always say yes, and then at the end of the job, they're not surprised when you give them a review card and ask them for a review or a referral. So the ideal marketing mix you should be engaging and mastering involves 3 or 4 tactics before you start adding more tactics. So that was a massive overview of everything. You can't do everything. You can't, maybe long term you can do everything once you have a huge marketing team that's just specializing in each tactic. But when you're, $1 million business and less, just pick a few tactics. Like you could build an entire $1 million business just off of cold calling alone, which I'm actually going to cover in detail of what that would look like. But you don't need to master everything immediately. Pick something, do it really well, and make sure those tactics that you do pick work together to make a good marketing mix. If you're a period of growth, more active tactics should be implemented than passive tactics. Couple of marketing content controls. We want to be very simple and clear. We don't want to be... we want to know what our marketing is all about. And this goes back to brand development and brand clarity. So what we do want to be sharing in our marketing and in our education is resource tips, commercial stories, charity stories, media hits, before and after photos, contests, customer testimonials, local content, interesting images, links, and videos, branded images. Things we don't want to be sharing in our marketing, which is going to confuse our brand identity. Political or religious views, negative stories, stories of personal nature, confidential company information, customer information, anything that's non-relevant in terms of videos and stories that are off-brand image. Improper uniforms, dirty vans, personal opinions. This is all not what we're sharing. So be very specific if you're planning to share outside of what I'm sharing from the company's corporate kind of franchisor position. When you're building a brand, we want to be sure to focus on customer needs and only sharing content and information that is helpful for customers in solving their problems and trusting our brand. Simple is better. Do not confuse our messaging. Before posting content, first ask yourself, does this marketing piece align with our brand voice? That is the end of this video. That is an introduction to the marketing mix. In the next video, we are going to take some of the items from the marketing mix, and we are going to build ourselves a marketing budget that makes sure that brings everything together and makes sure that our costs are all in alignment and that we understand where those costs come from. That is it for this video, and we will see you in the next one.